Alright, so how's it going everybody, it's Size Knives and welcome back to some MK11. So, I just quickly want to say the last video I made on this game was, I think, a year ago when I released my Bargain Irons guide, and to anybody who actually watched that video, I just want to say thank you very much because that video actually did really well. That still means a lot to me to this very day, so if you did engage with it, again, thank you very much. But let's get into why I'm making this video, which is to talk about Peacemaker, which I've seen nobody talk about, and to be honest, I haven't even seen anyone use it. I think I'm the only PC player who's been using this move since Ultimate dropped, and while I understand why, there is one particular aspect of this move which I don't think people are aware of, and it's what this move grants Aaron Black in the corner, specifically off of back 2 up 4. I mean, this is going to be the focal point of this video pretty much. What Peacemaker grants Aaron Black of this string is the touch of death. It just grants him the ability to hit you like a freaking Mack truck. So let me show you what you normally do off back 2 up 4 with this move, if I'm good. Okay, so you do something like this, which is pretty solid damage for one bar, you know, 306 damage. However, if we use up Peacemaker, it's a very different story indeed, as I should now demonstrate. So I'll try and demonstrate. Dun dun. There's 306 damage, it's gone. For a ride, and we've topped out at 385, which... ouch! And unfortunately, this is where things get even worse if you use this move. It's when we introduce acid into the mix, specifically if you've got acid pour. The damage is just cracked. It's just absolutely cracked. So let me give you an example. You can actually perform setups and use acid and bleed your opponent dry in many different ways. So one thing you can do, sorry, is up Peacemaker, dun dun, acid, meet your opponent with down 3 or something like that, and just throw them on wake up. So if you condition your opponent to expect to throw off of that and hit them with back 2 up 4 again, this is what can happen. I can let the crushing blow rip for free, and that's how much damage I get for it. Again, like I said, this guy is given the touch of death in the corner with this move, and that just proves it. And if you want to make this even worse, Aaron has a back throw crushing blow, so I can do this if I want. Get smoked. She's taking dot damage in the acid, and then she just explodes. She just completely explodes. So at that point, you're in the worst catch-22 position you could possibly be in the corner, because either way, if you guess wrong and you get opened up and you can't break whatsoever, you're going to die. And that leads me on to another point. You can't break. That's what happens if you try and break. And God forbid, you try and break as I'm entering into 2-1-2-1. Because at that point, you're basically giving me 500 damage for free. That's how clapped this move is. What this also does, it also grants you the ability to maximize your crushing blow combos as well, so you can get even more bang for your buck from those. With crushing blows, this is a quick example, of what you can do. So, standing 4, Peacemaker, fuck. So basically you do a special after that. No, I'm being a scrub. There we go. So again, you'll get some pretty big damage for doing that. And you can basically do that with any crushing blow you hit. One thing I'll quickly say about Peacemaker, it's pretty tricky to combo off because you don't have all the airtime in the world to do what you want basically. So one tip I can actually give you is to slow your inputs down just a little bit. So what I mean by that is when you hit the move, take a brief pause and then go in. If you see me missing it, which I've done plenty of times in this video already, it's basically because I'm rushing to do 2-1-2-1-2. So one thing you'll find if you rush, sometimes you'll get 1-1 as opposed to 2-1. So after you hit a Peacemaker, pause and then go. I paused too much. So pause, 2-1, and then go from there. Then you can get this thing going. In the corner, one thing you can also do with it is actually use it as an anti-air, and it's pretty good in the corner. So I'll give a quick example. If she jumps forward, I do something like this. Okay. I can fuck. I'm sorry. Boom. Set up acid. And do that. Just because you tried to jump. And look how much damage I've done. You don't have to let the crushing blow rip if you don't want. Either way, you'll bleed your opponent dry for jumping, because you can just amplify acid pour in the corner and get a ton of damage for it. So let's talk about what you can do with this move mid-screen. And this is where this move falls short, because to be honest, you can't really do anything with it, practically speaking. In theory, you'd be able to anti-air with it, but as an anti-air, I'm just going to tell you, it's kind of crap. And for a while I thought it was just me being crap, but then I'm fairly convinced it's not just me at this point. So let me explain what I mean. So with jump-ins, the whole idea of having an anti-air is it's supposed to be pretty quick, and you're supposed to just be able to react to anti-airs and convert and make your opponent pay. So standing one with Eren is all the anti-air you could ask for. It's so good, tracks both ways, get solid damage off it, really consistent. If for whatever reason this drops, it's probably because MK11 happened. It's nothing to do with the actual anti-air, because the anti-air is good. And you can even... Let me start again. You can even use down 2 and convert and get a ton of damage for an anti-air. That's solid damage right there. So you've already got 2 freaking solid anti-airs. So what about this? So in theory, okay, you can do a lot of damage with this move, as I shall demonstrate. So that's something you can do. If she's a bit further away, I can sneak in forward 3, because basically the way it works, if you hit this really close, you have 37 hit advantage, but the further away you hit it, the more hit advantage you actually gain. You can do it up close. It is tight, but there you go. It is doable. If you could do that consistently, I'd just say do that, because, I mean, again, 310 damage for an anti-air, really? But at the same time, it's not the most... Again, it's just tight. The problem I have with this move, it kind of goes against how you're supposed to use anti-airs, because, as I've said, they're supposed to be reactionary. But with this move, it's hard to react with a 14 frame move, hit your opponent clean whilst they're in the air and convert. So what can happen sometimes if you're late is you'll only get one shot off, and if you don't get both bullets to hit your opponent, they won't pop up and you won't be able to convert. So one thing you can do to set this up, for instance, if your opponent jumps on wake up, no! Try again, pop, and you can spend the bar, 50% damage for that one sequence just because your opponent jumped. Another thing you can do if you want, you can let the crushing blow go mid-screen if you want, if you get this going, and that's a lot of damn damage that your opponents have just having to eat just because they jumped. It's just so much harder to get going, to where why risk missing an anti-air with this when you can just get one more or less for free with your standing 1, or even your down 2 maybe. So that's the problem with this move, and when you really break that down, if you're not going to use this move mid-screen as an anti-air, what are you going to use it for? Every game starts mid-screen, so haven't you already kind of thrown a slot away by equipping this move? That, I believe, is why no one picks this move to use in their variations, because while in the corner there is something to be had, there's something really good to be had in my opinion, mid-screen there's absolutely nothing to be had. The only way you will use this move as an anti-air, based on my experience, and again, maybe I'm trash, actually I am trash, but the only way I can get this move going as a clean anti-air is if I read when my opponent is about to jump, I position myself and then input this just as they start jumping to ensure both bullets hit clean. And that's kind of playing it backwards, because you're not supposed to do that with anti-airs. Again, you're just supposed to react and then convert, but I can't do that with this move because it's freaking slow as well. So you're not going to use this move mid-screen a lot against a lot of players, especially good players, because good players aren't going to jump like monkeys all over the place. The only character I've found that I can actually get this move going with is against Cabal players who have air gas on, because let's be honest, they jump 24/7. I can only think of 2 reasons why you'd actually use this move. If you can just deal with a character's jumping habits with this move, for instance. I use this against some Cabal players who have air gas on. Not all of them, just some of them. If I can get their jumping time down. The only other reason I can think of in which you'd actually want to use this move in a variation is if you just wanted to create a variation solely focused on dealing the highest amount of damage possible to your opponent, because in the corner there's no getting around the fact that to get the highest amount of damage you possibly can get with this character, you need this move. There's just no arguing it. So those are the only 2 reasons in which I think you'd actually use this move. So that's just my opinion on Peacemaker. Let me know what you think. Hope you enjoyed the video, and yeah, have a good one. Take care, and I'll see you all later.